Am I gonna get electrocuted?
No. It'll stop
Maybe
after
minimal.
it's on.
It'll be
off.
fine. A little
Let
bit.
us know if you do.
It arcs to my face.
Can you define electrocute?
It comes off your nose.
Yeah.
The last time I had them natter days, I think, like, I don't know if I can ever drink them again.
Really? You
I
drank
had
them
the
this
worst
weekend?
headache. No, the last time we went to podcast.
Really?
Like 3 or 4 of them.
Well,
I drank 18 of those in Florida in one day. I was so proud of myself.
Yeah, it's good to have goals, Chris.
That's the most I've ever drank.
I think the Surgeon General generally discourages 3 or 4 of these in,
Really?
in a sitting.
They sell them in 30 packs.
They kind of assuming you have friends.
Oh.
Jokes on that.
Good
No,
to know.
but it's probably the sugar, right?
Yeah.
Don't you get like the hangovers are extra special when you're drinking like whiskey and cokes or like bombs, like Red Bull bombs
Yeah.
and shit like that.
I'm glad that
It's rough.
I mean, I'm frustrated, highly frustrated that I can't drink like that. I'm also glad, like I can't drink at home. Like I'm not the guy that's gonna take have a glass
That's
of
what
whiskey
keeps you
when he
moving.
gets home.
That's what keeps you moving, though. You don't
Yeah.
have that vice.
Yeah, well, my body doesn't allow it. I can't.
I think that's a blessing more than anything.
Yeah,
Well, just for chronological perspective, this is the Tuesday after the Mom Tried weekend.
It's a little slow.
If our eyes are a little droopy,
are my eyes open?
I'm feeling pretty rough still.
I think it takes a while to unpack. There's so much input into my brain to unpack it.
My phone is nonstop, just buzzing
Yeah.
the whole time we've been sitting here too, just nonstop. And you just want to go check it all and see because you relive it.
You're still in that zone. I still have not been able to like really sleep because my body's exhausted, but my brain is like, what's happening? What's happening?
Yeah.
Are we supposed to be somewhere?
Are we missing something?
Yeah. So
So, in conclusion, that's why we have the long face. But that's not going to stop
the
us.
sleepy podcast.
It's Mardi Gras today, people.
Is it
so
really?
let's rally.
All right, let's party.
Fat Tuesday. Fat Tuesday. It's the celebration. We would get deviant before Ash Wednesday, beginning the 40 days of fasting before Easter. So this is the last day before we really get hedonistic and eat meat and do all of the vices as we purify starting tomorrow morning.
Eat a barbecued alligator, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that where that came from?
It came from Louisiana.
Well, I mean, the idea. I guess the idea also came from Louisiana.
No, the idea came from Dixon.
Yeah, but like because it's Mardi Gras?
No,
Just
just
he
random.
just wanted to barbecue out.
Here.
Was that the was that an Natterdays equivalent of like blowing your brains out?
That's my
Was that the conversation?
that's
Was
my
that boring?
deviant for
Yeah.
Tuesday. Ash Wednesday.
You just got baptized by Natter Day. In the name of the Father,
All right.
the Son, and the
All
little
right.
Chris. You all right, Brock? Good bit.
Don't pour this one on me.
I haven't drank in over a year. I'm not gonna drink that.
Really? Warren will drink it.
Son of a bitch.
I haven't drank since the December Mama Tried.
Really?
Where you guys had the first open bar.
Really?
I took advantage of that quite well.
Is that what you quit like sort of because based on that hangover? Or
No, I
something?
got COVID after that. Not from Mama Tried, but I just wanted to chill out. And...
From the open bar.
No.
You got COVID from the open bar.
No, I got COVID from drinking Natter Days in Florida and tequila, and then
Well, the point is you're sober now, and that's great.
yeah,
Let
Yeah.
the flag fly.
Yeah.
and
Right on.
I'm going to do that as best as I
So
can
you-
and keep
so
it
you
going.
bathe
You're
in
off to a
beers.
great start today.
Yeah.
Got a little alcohol in my veins,
There you
but
go. Right
we're
on.
good.
Yeah, it goes
Right
through
on.
your eyes.
I was on back in the day when they used to do it was like B96 Fest or some shit. I'm sure it was called something. Chicago used to go down to see all the bands, and we were on the my buddy Ryan was really good at sneaking into shit. So we found our way backstage, and because we had to work on this generator that was broken, and then we just left it there and walked around. We were walking around backstage and got up and watched Steve-O from Jackass poured tequila into his eyeballs. Just fucking bananas. Remind me of little Chris's baptism by Natter Day. You're going to have a literal pink eye from fucking Natter Day.
That stuff tastes good on my nose right now.
All right, well, let's stay on track. This is the
Were we on
30th podcast.
We haven't even got on the track yet.
And it's the Tuesday after Mama Tried.
It's not the 30th, is it really?
What? Really?
It was 27, 29, 8.
Last couple weeks were a blur. I don't know about you guys.
Okay, well, the point is, it's the Tuesday after the weekend of Mama Tried, the holiday. Mm-hmm. And we are just getting back to our normal lives on this Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious, before we even begin, and little Chris, you're a very interesting young man, and we want to dive into your spirit. And
we got some housekeeping first.
What makes little Chris
a little bit of housekeeping, and that is, just give me some words. Warren, Scott, give me some words. How was the weekend for you? I don't know. I don't even want to phrase it that way. Scratch. How was the weekend? Just tell me what you're thinking, what you're feeling.
I'm proud. I'm really proud of the weekend.
Proud.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, like a proud dad.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the more that we do it, the more that we are involved in it, and you can kind of interpret what's happening. It's so like just a giant family reunion. Everybody's stoked and happy.
Hang on,
and
I want to call you out on those words. The more that we do it, the more you said we can. What did you say?
We can like immerse ourselves into it and really appreciate it, because we get asked that question 100 fucking times during the weekend. Why do you do this? Why do you do this? What are you doing? What has Mama tried? And you try to formulate on the fly like what is happening. And I think the more we do it, the more we can talk. I don't know.
Automatic.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it just kind of it's like molding and changing and shaping the whole time.
I think also because we've gotten more organized and our teams are like more organized. We have more time to hang out and actually watch it happen instead of just hustling around and like trying to take care of this and trying to take care of that. We need this, we need that. We actually get to be there and sort of watch it unfold.
Yeah.
So we're like a little bit more present, which is
cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my main goal. I work my ass off and to a fault ahead of time to make sure that I can enjoy what's going on. And 9 times out of 10, I enjoy it a little too much.
Thursday night at Fuel, you look at me dead seriously with a little smirk on your face, and you just look at me and say, "What day is it?"
Well, we
Thursday
were already by Wednesday.
Dude, yeah. By Wednesday, I was fucking exhausted.
Yeah.
Well, you commented on a point. I think that we do have a very strong philosophy of what we're doing, and I remember saying this all along, that when it gets windy, we need to hold on to that philosophy, and it does get windy over the weekend. And I did grab onto the philosophy of what we are doing.
Yeah,
why we do it.
I mean, none of us could have said anything and done anything in that room. And the building at Fiserv and the room at Mama Tried was proof of what we're about and what's going on.
We have the ability to make, and this is a brag. This is as braggy as I'll get. Okay, we have an ability to get people on the same frequency.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Put in all those folks in one
true.
Spot to have this linear.
Goal to have a mutual experience, mutually, like a qualified, exciting is not the word. I'm struggling for words still after the weekend, but yeah, something like that, like a stoke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like a common stoke.
A mutual stoke to the end goal of what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I wanted to just comment too that every year I say this, but I just really appreciate it more and more of the young people.
Yeah.
Doing things different, looking back at us and articulating what we're saying differently. If they looked exactly like us or did exactly what we were doing, I'd be a little disappointed. But they do it in their youthful way.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't quite understand it, but I appreciate their take on our stoke.
Yeah, 100%. Well, eventually they're going to have to pick up the flag and run with it anyway. So
right, and I don't want to cap them. I don't want to say no, this is the way it needs to be done. I like the way that they're doing things.
Yeah, the new energy.
The new energy.
I really genuinely enjoyed a lot of people this weekend, and I'm going to forget a lot of people, but I really liked that Anna Serena.
The banana.
Anna Banana.
Yeah.
She rules.
Yes.
Like, she's so stoked. She's got the coolest style. She raced. She has a bike in the show. She brought her dad. And I was
Where's she from?
I don't know.
I think Florida.
Yeah.
The epitome of what we do.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yep.
Not only that, she's, from what I remember from Koshansky, she was working on a bike in Cleveland at Skidmark Garage. She had Chasten Brand out of Georgia paint her banana bike. So it's not like, and she's sponsored by Royal Enfield. So she's putting all of her things together, and she's really owning it, and
Yeah, she's hustling.
she's doing it across the country.
Yep. Yeah, totally. I just thought she was. If we were going to elect a president for the next administration of Mama Tried Flat on Friday, I would nominate.
Bold statement.
Anna
But
Banana.
she's young and she's doing things her way.
Yeah.
You didn't put these these parameters of like, it must be a chopper, it must be a Harley, it must be this kind of paint job, it must look like a Black Sabbath album cover. It's quite different.
She's building a gorilla bike now to go with her banana bike.
Okay, of course she is. Great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so great.
All right. Well, thanks for what's the word, Scott? Laminating, ruminating,
Recap.
recapping.
Kneecapping.
The weekend, and we could go into it for a
We
lot.
should probably
In
do an
fact,
episode on recapping the weekend, but I think we need a while to download.
another week to do that.
Easily.
Easily.
But I can still freshly communicate with little Chris, our guest here today. I can freshly communicate without thinking about deep philosophies with you, little Chris. Thanks for coming. Ladies and gentlemen, little Chris. Before I begin, I just want to make sure your name is right. Is it Lil apostrophe or Little?
I like TTLE.
Okay, so little Chris. And when do you think you're going to shed that name?
I don't. Man,
Who gave you
can't.
that name?
You can't
You
shed that name.
can't shed little
Yeah,
Chris?
who's
No.
Big Chris? For the listeners out there, and
So I guess the story about it is, I'm an young preteen riding around the neighborhood on my BMX bike, run into some kids in the neighborhood that can bunny hop over stuff, and I was just amazed at BMX and that kids could actually do tricks that weren't that much older than me. So these older kids were a little older than me, in the current transition of puberty and post-puberty, and once they got there, I was farther behind. They're older than me. I was just little. I was little Chris from the neighborhood, and somehow through friend groups, through BMX, school, it's stuck with me, and it just goes from one group to another group, and it gets to a point where like nobody knows my last name. My last name is Chris.
no one could pronounce your last name.
So that's just my street name, Jeremy.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You had that. Is that part of your tag? You have your own LC
No.
Pojazdu tag?
No. Oh yeah, just little Chris. There'd be times where I would just paint. I think I had it really big where with big Sharpie when you would head north on Oakland right before you got to Chubby's or Sill's Donut Place. There's a arrow sign that pointed left. Make sure you turn left before you hit these barriers. And for like a month or two, it was just that little Chris.
That was your.
Yeah.
That was the pinnacle of the existence.
I never had the balls to go back and just put it there more permanently and bigger, but
Well,
it was fun.
tell me just a little bit about this neighborhood you said when you were a kid growing up. Where was this?
West Dallas,
Oh, the good people.
Born and raised.
Salt of the earth.
city at
You
the center.
You ever been to Stallywood, the bar?
No, I can probably only been to one or two West Dallas bars after in my mid to late 20s.
Really?
Yeah, once
So
I
you
moved
didn't take
down to the
advantage.
east side, I had fun
I
at
could
the
name
east
for
side.
you 50 West Dallas bars, and the names are better than the next.
Well,
Let's quickly go through a top 5. West Stallions.
Dallas Palace.
Dallas Palace is I would walk her in, drag her out. It's probably the boldest name.
Weren't
That's
they in the
real?
news? They were in the
That's
news.
real.
That's
for
an
that one.
actual real bar, yeah.
And I couldn't believe it. We were the only guys in there.
Yeah,
It's
so weird.
Shocker.
Yeah, there's no females.
Imagine that.
Walk them in, drag them out.
That's their whole bit. We are not changing our name. Like that's their line in the sand.
They're holding tight.
Yeah,
to
when
that.
I was in West Dallas, the names were more blue collar and not
Like what?
Steve's.
Shepherd's
Rays.
Inn,
Oh, Shepherd's Inn's still there.
Dawn's.
I don't know Dawn's.
That's now Suds and Bubbles or something. But
Slurpenberg.
Slurpenberg. Yeah. Yeah, I lived across the street from that bar growing up.
I know where it is.
That's
It's 76 and National.
92nd in Greenfield.
92nd and Greenfield. Yep.
Same neighborhood.
Yeah, good people. Salt of the earth.
That's my neighborhood. Those are my streets.
Those are your peeps.
So, little Chris, you grew up BMXing competitively, just on the street,
Just on the streets with my friends.
racing or freestyle.
I guess you could call it freestyle, but just street. We called it street BMX.
Vert ramp, quarter
No,
pipe,
none of that. So
Rails at the church.
yeah, rails.
mags. You have parrot mags or spokes.
This was spokes. This was, man, I forgot what they call it. There's a term for that era of BMX, late 90s, early 2000s. Bikes were getting kind of heavy. They were reinforcing them pretty much because people started breaking stuff. So it went from a transition to getting really overbuilt, and then through the early 2000s, they started getting lighter and lighter. So let's say about 2000, you could have up to a 34-pound bike if you had all the really heavy stuff on it, but then 2006 to 8, they got down to like 28 pounds, and now they're probably 24. So it's an interesting metric on which to
And they're still holding together at 24?
Yeah, the engineering has gotten a lot better. The materials, it's actually pretty impressive with that. Am I right
Still
with that,
ride?
Brian?
I'll check that out.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyways,
when you say a BMXer, again, this was kind of your identity of hanging out with your friends in the street. It wasn't you didn't travel around the country competing.
we traveled. Well, when we got older, we traveled around the country riding street spots and hitting up little skate parks. So
Okay.
Was that how the valley was kind of spawned?
no,
That was
Not-
separate, but that group though.
a few of us, transitioned into that. So, a lot of parallels with the subcultures and with that subculture to where we rode around the streets. We rode around different neighborhoods. We experienced different parts of Milwaukee and other people's neighborhoods, and we learned how neighborhoods worked. We knew how to learn from the wrong and right ways of interacting with people and the police and people that weren't happy with us. Being where we weren't supposed to be, and I think a lot of that stuff and the same people transitioned into motorcycles later on.
I appreciate that perspective. Were you shooting content at this time? Videos and
Dude, that was the funny time of the internet. The internet as well was transitioning as well. This was before ads, and we had AOL Instant Messenger. We're talking to our friends, girls on Instant Messenger, and there was GeoCities websites that you could make and put up stuff that you took with your digital camera. I remember Sony had a camera with a 3.5-inch disc you could put in there and then plug it into your computer and upload your pictures. But I took what I can with my parents' camcorder. I made a couple little videos.
You still have them?
I might have one. Unfortunately, I remember lending one of the tapes out so a friend of mine could do a video project that
call him
worked
out
in
right
every
now?
school. And
you want to call them out?
no, I've learned we don't need to use names, but yeah, I got some stuff, but not exactly what we had. But
Is it still on your MySpace page?
I deleted that. That thing's gone.
Shit,
A little bit of content.
I just
And
want to go back and look at mine.
I wanted to. I want to see what the hell's on there. So bad.
I think I wanted it gone. I wanted it off the internet, and those social media companies aren't very easy at doing that. So I deleted everything off my page, and I put up a bunch of pictures of porn up there. And then they have no choice but to take it off.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little Chris, zoom in a little bit. You said that this culture, this counterculture you were in, transitioned into chopper building. Is that right? It's a motorcycling?
Well,
to what specifically?
excuse me, that natterdace is still in me.
Yeah, it's in your fallopian tubes.
Yeah. Wait, I have fallopian tubes?
Your nose, right? Isn't it a fallopian
You're
tube?
full of shit, Jeremy.
Wasn't it cars first or trucks?
Yeah.
You didn't go straight. You took
No,
took
yeah,
a
I
while
was
to
in
get to
I
bikes.
still am in the cars, but I was in the cars more.
But you were into cars before you were into BMX bikes.
Yeah,
though.
there's so many things. I'm so involved in so many little things, Jeremy. That's why it's hard for me to focus. I'm all over the place. So I was in the cars and stuff, and at that time though, our mutual friend Cody Davidson, he turned 18 or 19, and his dad gave him I believe a 76 shovel head. So after he had that and he started building that, and
Was that when we first met? I remember
you
that. I
he
feel like
probably started getting a little. He got some parts after that, and then after like a year or two, I think he had moved to Austin, Texas, and came back. They had a shop on like 35th and Valete, and they came across a Sportster, and they finally talked me into buying
that
my
drag
Sportster.
Sportster. Right?
Yeah, the drag Sportster. But
Yeah.
after that, I bought that after he got in his first accident, because he borrowed the money from me to buy that bike, and
Was it the blue bike that he crashed on first, or was
yeah,
it?
that was a Paco frame, and then Alex had that frame after that.
Yeah, right.
So what was this person's name? I forget who.
Cody
Cody.
Davidson.
He had a bike in the show this year.
So Cody was kind of not necessarily the leader, but the first to kind of break the seal of getting into motorcycles.
Yeah, his dad gave him a
And
shovel
it
head.
inspired that friend group to start seeing like, oh, choppers are going to be okay, or motorcycles are pretty cool.
Yeah, the next
Yeah,
transition.
he started having adventures riding it. I don't know. I can't tell you his first couple rides, but Alex Yankee bought a bike, a Sportster. Dustin had some Yamaha chopper that I guess he got from Steve Sten's Donnie Skunk, and Dustin's brother got into it. So a couple of people started moving into that shop off of Elite, and then that got too small, or
that one didn't last very long.
no. But I remember you were there when we unloaded my Sportster, and you took a drag shot down on that thing. And
Yeah.
we,
That's
you
fast.
Could tell that, yeah, that wasn't just a Sportster. I didn't know any
It
better.
wasn't even street legal. It wasn't even ready for the road. It was just for.
No,
It was.
It was a street bike. Yeah, but it had a big ass Sportster motor in it, and it was just really fast, like a little rocket ship.
ripped. Yeah.
Yeah, Warren talked about it on a previous podcast of yours about how it put him on his ass and he was crying
Oh my
on the
God.
ground.
Really?
The worst, man. About blew my knee out.
Really? Like
Yeah.
it flipped over?
No, it had like the trick kicker that all the Sportsters have, the iron heads. And you put all your weight into it, it just goes whoop to nothing, and it's just like hyperextend your knee. God, I'll never kick a Sportster again. No thanks.
And that's not the
Dang.
only person that bike's taken
No,
out.
fuck that.
All right, so let me pause this before we get too far forward. I ask this of everybody that's on here. I just want to know a little bit about you growing up in West Dallas. Were you a good kid? Mom and dad, working class?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Thanks for the insight.
My
Fast
mom
forward.
worked for the county. My dad was a third shift welder at Hunterspager. So,
No blue collar family.
Brothers and sisters?
no. So I grew up an only child, and they took care of me pretty well.
You do well in school?
Yeah.
You play
I did.
sports?
I wanted to play baseball, but there was no time or money for that. So I'm proud of the way I grew up, figuring out a lot of stuff on my own. But would I have liked to play baseball? Yeah, but I'm okay with not doing it.
If you had played baseball, would it have taken away the time that you put in at the car club? Like, did that take the place of
No,
sports?
no, that was
Or was that later? Because that was a big part of your growing up, right?
yeah. Well, okay, here's another story, Jeremy.
Talk to me like I'm in trouble. So like I'm mad
Yeah,
at
you want to know? You want to know the
This
truth,
is gonna be a
Jeremy?
hostile situation.
I'd hear stories from my dad and grandpa about, they had, my uncle had a TR3 Triumph that he would take apart and work on in the basement, and he worked on, and my grandpa was always tinkering with stuff, so we were always building something. Everything had value, and we're kind of hoarders per se. I'm working on not becoming one myself, but I have quite a number of projects or whatever. But I'm skateboarding. I did some skateboarding too when I was younger. Down, it must have been 12 or 13 with a guy, and we were skateboarding past his auto shop. And I'm like, what's that place? I saw a bunch of cool old cars in there, welders. And he's like, oh, that's the auto club. My brother's a member there. And I'm like, well, how do I get to use that? Because I'm looking at building models, and there's like Lowrider magazine, and there's Lowrider bicycles in there. It's like, I want to weld on this Lowrider bicycle and make myself a bike. And he's like, well, you got to be 14 to join. And as soon as I turned 14, I went up to that club and say, hey, how do I join? I want to learn and do stuff. And like, yeah, okay. So they checked me out, signed me up, and I started welding on this bike when I was 14. Chicken shit welds. It looked like crap, but I molded the fender into the frame and did some other molding on it and learned how to weld and do Bondo and grind and stuff.
Was your dad or grandpa into that? Like, where did the need or the want?
My dad told me never to become a welder.
Where'd the drive come from? Why did it? You have friends or
no?
Uncle?
Well, they were always fixing stuff around the house and doing things. So I guess I took the skill and turned it into an artistic form per se. So,
and motorcycles or cars or bicycles
yeah.
or models was your entry into like.
Yeah, they buy me model kits and I do that. Here, do this. Keep me busy. Don't bother me. Do this. So.
How are you received as a 14-year-old in a car club like that? And you're president now, right?
I'm vice president of the West Dallas Auto Club. There's one guy, Larry, who really showed me how to weld. They catered to me. Another guy, Mitch, would give me grinding wheels and flap discs and like, here, you can use this. You know, I don't know about buying my own shit. Like I mean, I could probably, but I'd go up there and work on that stuff.
Yeah,
and I did it all myself. I actually got my dad later involved with the auto club, and he's a supervisor every other week on Sundays. But no, my own drive to do that stuff and make it myself was all on my own. I think I was taught in an early age if I wanted something, I had to do it myself. So from the bicycles transitioned into
that
cars.
Mini truck?
Yeah, I built that mini truck.
Yep.
And that took me 10, 15 years to do. But I finished that.
What year is that? 34? The truck?
34 Ford pickup truck that I
still working on.
I got that. Well, here's another side story, Jamie. So I built this, working on this mini truck that I don't know, it was pretty cool. I never finished it, but I came across this fellow named Bob Bleed and hot rods and stuff. And
how did you and Bob meet?
A friend of a friend of a friend.
Chris.
So,
thanks.
Oh, thank you, sir. I'd love to put that lineage out there right now, but I'm not going to think that deep.
Yeah.
Through a couple friends, I met Bob, and
Bob Bleed. We call him Bob Bleed because he was in the band Bleed.
Yeah.
He led the band Bleed.
He was
Local
lived in
hot
River
rod
West
rock
and
band.
put on a lot of shows down there.
Yep.
And pretty good stage presence, I'd say.
Amazing.
Talented, very talented.
Yep. Great singer, great guitarist.
Mm-hmm. You played your wedding.
Bass.
I played at my wedding. And I ended up buying a car body, Model T body. And he was making these cool hot rod frames that were swept up in the front, and they gave the car a really good look and stance. And I was 19, 20 years old. I wanted to build this car, so I'd go out to a shop and I'd be like, how do you build one of these? I want to build one. I'm not going to give you the money to buy one of yours. I'm going to build it myself. And he's like, I've heard him tell this story about how, like, yeah, whatever, it's just some kid. Okay, I'll tell him how to do it. A week later, I show back up and ask him a few more questions. I did this, this, and this. I got this far. Now what? And at that point, he saw that I had the ambition, drive, and passion to keep doing that. And I kept hanging out with him and learning stuff, helping him, learning a lot about doing stupid shit in life, acting like a retard here and there around the country. And
Did you? Because he was that the point he was transitioning into like Austin Speed Shop?
yeah, so
Right.
I followed him down to Austin.
What year was that? I just came across a photo of you and Bob and what's his wife's name?
Laura.
And at Brockerbox. So that would have been.
That was before he moved down there.
2012.
He had that tarantula, the T coupe.
Yep.
And just his vibe that he put off with that car.
Yeah.
And his attitude and like, fuck it, it's a motorcycle show, but I'm parking my hot rod in the middle of it.
Yeah.
was pretty badass.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of my me doing what I want, pushing boundaries.
You push boundaries, Chris?
I don't know. Comes from
buttons.
It's not only my childhood of just being that's what kids do, but also from almost like him telling me that it's okay to push boundaries and you work your way through things, and I think that's been very welcome in this little crew here too. So I followed him down to Austin, learned a little bit about hot rods and built stuff down there with him. Crashed an ATV in San Antonio. My parents came down there, had to pick me up and take me home.
You got really bad hurt, didn't you?
I woke up in ICU to Cody and Bob being there the day after 4th of July. And they're just looking at me like, dude, he's fucked. And they told him that I broke all my bones in my body. And
they told you that?
They told Bob and Cody that. And
tell me,
Bob,
tell me a little bit about this story. Can you share?
Yeah,
it?
back up a little bit. Yeah.
okay.
I remember this story.
Really?
Yeah, I remember you telling this story.
Okay. So it was 4th of July. We were going out to Greg Janukas's family's hunting ranch.
Good old Greg Ganukas.
He's a dang cool photographer there down there now. But we stop and get a piñata. There's piñata houses in Austin all over the place. I got a bunch of candy. What's more fun than showing up to a party with a piñata?
Mm-hmm.
So we show up. We get to the party like 1 or 2 in the morning. It's pitch black out, and we get on the 4-wheelers. Like, we're there to have fun. We're there to party.
It's on a ranch. It's on
a ranch. It's pitch black in the middle of nowhere. And we take a couple shots, and we go out on these ATVs. And I'm riding it like I would normally. I'm looking for taillights as fast as I can go. It's dusty, no glasses, no helmets. And next thing you know, I wake up in the hospital. But Bob came up on me behind there. I saw the lights up in the air. Like, I drove it off a ravine. And I must have been unconscious for a little while. And I come to, and I'm just gasping for breath. I collapsed both my lungs, and they tried to fight for life me out of there, but they couldn't get the helicopter in because it was too dusty, they told me. So all I remember is being in the back of an ambulance, them turning me on my side and putting chest tubes in each side of my... Oof. Like, they put one in, turned me, I blacked back out, put another one in, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? And then I wake up in the hospital.
Okay.
But that other week, too, that same week, I crashed my BMX bike at the 6th Street Trails, so I was all scrabbed up from that. So the people in the hospital didn't realize that there was more than just the accident that led to that, and I rear-ended somebody in my S10, so it came in a threes. That week was a bad week for me. You know, I skated death in Wisconsin here. I can do all sorts of stupid shit up here, but not in Texas.
Okay, so your parents
right.
came and got you. You were telling a story, sorry, about being in Austin, and then your parents came and got you. That was the end of Austin?
I think we went down there for the car show once or twice afterwards, too. But, yeah, I came up here, chilled for a little bit, then went back to work and a regular machinist job.
Okay.
Right, that's your trade, right? Your skill. You
yeah.
run machines for years.
I'm a machinist by trade right out of high school. I co-opted into it and went from running CNC machines to programming them, setting them up, to process engineering and
You still
design.
do that today?
No.
No.
Now I work at Harley Davidson
That's right.
Doing
Yes.
arts
In
and
the
crafts in the design
super
studio.
secret lab.
Yeah,
In the arts
super
and crafts
secret.
studio. You guys make noodle necklaces?
I can't really talk much about that other.
No, you know what? I'll tell you this.
Squid.
We don't give a shit about what you do over there. Let me just set the record straight that we are not prying.
Good.
And I could give a shit what you got.
Some of your
down
work
the
was
pipe.
on display this weekend. That track that was
we
downstairs.
put together that track. I work with a really cool team over there.
That's
and,
cool.
Yeah, I was very proud to be able to put together that trike in the front that
That's cool. I didn't know that.
my team members came up with the designs. And
What did you
We
do
got
on
them
that thing?
together.
Did you paint it?
No, I put the tins on it.
Just help
Took it
assemble
apart.
it, and
Yeah, took it
what
apart,
kind of a
assembled
pain in the ass is that? There's got to be a
I'm
quite
finding working on those things is a lot easier than that you would everything even my own bike. It's like it's very intimidating until you start digging into it.
sure.
It's not that bad so far.
You have to have a couple people though, like, or do the fenders come off separately, or is it one whole big rear section, or
2 fenders and the rear section. I can actually take that all off by myself.
it's like a big fiberglass cover
Yeah.
case?
But yeah.
What was that for? Is a prototype the
Um,
trike, or it's just a custom job that's
It's a custom
just-
paint job
Yeah.
and accessories for. It will be presented at Daytona as well.
Oh,
So out
nice.
in the sun, that thing's gonna look amazing.
Nice.
Yeah. It had it's like a chameleon paint job, right? It has
Yeah.
multiple colors to it.
Mm-hmm. And panels.
Kind of hard to see in the rave.
Are you taking it down to Daytona?
No.
Are you going?
No.
You fly on the private jet yet?
No.
Should be close. You should work into that. Let me know how it is. Put me
I'm
in the
far
suitcase.
from that. I'm far from that.
You never know.
Not for long.
Yeah. So.
Well, thanks for sharing that a little bit of backstory about you, getting everybody on the same page about your upbringing.
Yeah, I just want to say that it's like me working on my hobbies and my interests have got me different career opportunities, and I'll learn something at work and then I'll use it on my stuff at home, and somehow it gives me more opportunities with the career path that
I've known you for a long time, and we've had conversations to the nth degree about where you want to go and what you want to do and how you're doing it, and like watching you grow has been pretty awesome.
Thanks.
Right? Like, first meeting you in a diner and at Scott's Diner, the Comic Cafe, comes in on his fixie or whatever the fuck he was riding, just a maniac after some bicycle ride, and then see you where you are now is pretty cool.
Thanks, Warren.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't at this point too. Like I don't have a 5-year plan. I don't know where I'm going. I just know that I need to keep that throttle forward, and
Yeah, the
just-
drive is evident.
I need to just keep driving and see where it takes me. I can't plan where I'm going here.
You should do an online course on peeing backwards. I learned a lot.
Dude,
Yes.
I personally learned a lot from that at State Fair in
Right.
front of a large audience.
Large audience.
Thanks, Chris.
You couldn't fit any more people in that bathroom.
Well, they all fucking cleared out.
Just a bunch of squared white dudes losing their shit, wondering if
Well,
they were gonna.
if we were, they couldn't figure out if we were doing something that was gay or not.
Am I gay now?
Are they pooping in the bathroom, or what are they
are you shitting
doing?
in the urinal?
So you stood over a urinal and peed backwards.
Yeah, and then we walked out to see how far we could get it to like actually still make it in the urinal.
I wasn't so backwards. That was a different time we peed. So the first time I met Scott was at Wisconsin State Fair, and with Warren's in-laws, and they kept buying us beers. And I'm a little guy, so I'm going to drink as much as I can, but I may not. I was going to make those bad decisions anyways. Whether it's sober or
Yeah,
not.
don't try to justify. I'm a little guy. They bought me
But-
beers.
Yeah,
It's
it wasn't my
Somehow it
fault.
wasn't your fault.
I didn't know who Scott Johnson was, but we were having fun. We're drinking beers, and I'm like, dude, Scott, check this out. Like, I learned this from the Haints. Dan Bulls is pro at it. And
Lost. I fucking laughed so hard.
but
I had to do it.
He was in the right state of mind too.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
he was gonna try it, but he couldn't get himself to do it. He's like, wait, what? How do you do this?
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, what?
So you got to pull your pants down and
And we
Bend
got
over a
really
little bit,
drunk,
tuck
and then
your-
I didn't
Yeah,
care.
a little white-tailed deer, but just take a leak.
yeah,
Are there some advantages to this position?
just freaking out the squares, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a good fucking
A lot
time.
of
And then
people
okay,
freaked
so I think even the Alabama boys don't do it anymore, and it's a thing of the past, right? But that December Mama Tribe we were talking about,
Bringing back the backwards P.
I did.
Okay.
And some guy was taking my picture in the bathroom, and
It was like a
I guess he's got a good picture somewhere.
we talked about that too. Like, how should I feel about the guy taking a picture of me in the bathroom in the whitetail? You were doing the peeing backwards thing in
Upside
your
down
home.
peeing.
Yeah, we did.
Don't
Well,
turn
I can't think about it. It's done. It's over. He's got it.
Yeah, keep the throttle down. Let's move on. All right. Well, that's not what I was going to say about you. Well, how you're known. You're known to me, meeting you later, amongst you meeting Scott and Warren, as the mini bike guy.
Yes.
Right? And your mini bikes have a brand. Your brand of humility, fun first, not heavy on design or speed, but simple and reliable.
Classic.
Is that fair to
With
describe
a,
your
with a
brand?
touch of irreverence.
What's her name?
Abigail.
Is the name of your pony bike?
Yeah.
The coolest mini bike in Milwaukee.
So we can take that back too. Well, I got that when I must have been 15, 16, and that's the first thing I put a motor in at the auto club. The guys there helped me do that as well. Russell helped me rebuild the head, and I had to switch cranks in it because I needed a 3/4 inch shank to fit crank to fit my clutch on. So those guys there helped me get that thing going. I would ride it up there from 92nd. I'd take the railroad tracks, the gravel road to get there. I'd ride it from 92nd to 120th Street, Rainbow Park, dipping through neighborhoods, crossed a couple busy streets. The only time I ever got caught riding through the neighborhood was leaving my driveway and about to cut through the parking lot.
Did you run?
No, he's like, turn that thing off and push it home. So then I had to wait 20 minutes for him to leave. But I would stop at the gas station on the way too before I'd cross Highway 100. I'd come out of a little tunnel, stop there, gas up. Nobody ever said anything to me. Nobody ever cared, except for that one stupid cop.
Isn't it funny now how all that stuff is like, those rules just like right out the window? Anybody can ride anything down the street.
Think so, but is it?
Yeah. I mean,
We get
those
away
electric scooters, the
birds.
one-wheeled electric things, the
Snowmobiles.
yeah,
Yeah. Limits.
present
Limits.
company
Let's push
included.
them.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's the first motorized thing. So
That's right. I forgot that Chris was the mini bike guy.
we
You
took
built-
it.
you built
We
two
took
mini
it
bikes
down
for
to
me.
Austin, and I had that in Austin, and I got pulled over at 2 a.m. going down South Lamar Avenue in front of the speed shop, and an unmarked car pulls me over, and he's like, I start going up to the car with a smile on my face, like, yeah, sorry, and he's like, stay by your vehicle. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, you didn't want to fuck with Austin police. They're pretty tough. They're at a murder rate of like 1 or 0 every year. Like, that's a cool place. They kept their shit together. I don't know about now, but
Yeah, you'd always hit the jump for us,
yeah.
or ride backwards, or sneak out in the main when you weren't supposed to be out there.
But that all started with Bob Lee, the mini bikes. You know, they used to dress up. Motorcycle. They were all on mini bikes on the cover of their album.
That's right.
They
Forgot about that.
we'd put monkey suits on and ride them around for the Mad Fabricators videos, and
You built the side hack for me.
yeah.
You built my first one and my side hack.
So somehow, yeah, through Jesse and Casey and those guys were like, hey, you need to have a boonie bike class for one of the first Flat Out Fridays.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how going from the boonie beat off to Flat Out Friday, now it's still a premier class.
I know.
And yeah, we had the beat up original mini bikes originally, and they were the funnest to watch, right? Like, I was thinking that with the EV class too. Those bikes were pretty quick, but they weren't racers on them. They couldn't hold a line. They weren't very good at racing, but they were fast and they were fun to watch. You didn't know what was going to happen. A couple of them slid out,
Right.
and I'm excited for that to grow, but that's what the Boonie bikes
Sure, that's
used to
the
be.
philosophy of the Boonie bikes. And when I say the Boonie bikes, I am proud of it, not for what I did. I did very little, or we did very little for it. I'm proud to display empowerment. Not to get too deep, but if you can't get involved with this, if this doesn't intrigue you to come down from the stands and join us, I don't know what will, because nothing is more inclusive than Boonie bike racing.
Yeah, and they're the most stoked and down to do the most shit through the whole week, and their bikes fit everywhere.
Show up at every single thing.
Yeah.
The thing under the bridge was great. That was like, I wasn't there, but I loved the videos of it because it was very much like the old days at Jesse's.
And that's
beat off days.
Those type of races
style.
of what I've been dreaming about, the outlaw races
Mm-hmm.
around the city. And, I feel like I have been letting you guys down by not showing up and participating in the events. But
You have been, Chris.
Yeah, I have those notes
We've
right here.
been
I was
talking
just talking about
about
that.
it. Yeah.
Man,
I'm glad you acknowledge it. I'm checking it off the list. Thanks for.
I just,
Have you
wanna-
raced that black one yet?
no, man. I redid my mini bike that I've been jumping with and doing all that stuff. We jumped a creek at your house.
Yes.
Jumped over you, folded the front end in.
Really?
So I rebuilt it. Oh, yeah. We got a little video of that. And
I love it.
I redid it really nice. Did some nice fabrication on it. And I can't bear to take it out and ruin
beautiful.
it. I rode it to the liquor store once, and that was it. And then I haven't built anything to replace it. So, and now Matt's coming out with these stouts. Everything's so fast, and maybe I should go out there and just ride the opposite way. And
You should hit the jump. We didn't even
did.
have a jump this year, did we?
no, the balloons are.
There's no. It's the jump.
It's just it's
It's not
irrelevant.
appropriate anymore.
Yeah.
It's
It's too
wants
fast.
to win. They want a knee drag now.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's more appropriate than ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, sounds like it's up to us. To
Maybe
slow
there's
down.
a Boonie A class and a Boonie.
There was.
Boonie freestyle.
There
Boonie
was.
freestyle.
It was JV and varsity, but we put the balloons out there. Right? That was the whole idea of creating a new obstacle.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
That was for the JV.
It was for the main class.
Yeah.
With the-
Which
I-
was
I-
great. I can't. Those are my. Sorry to interrupt you. Those are my favorite videos to watch from this weekend.
Yeah.
The balloons.
The mini bikes going through the balloons.
And
like my
I kept
favorite
envisioning.
thing.
I was sitting there with Hank on the hay bale at the pit out, and I kept envisioning like everybody was. They did it once, and then they were racing, and I was like, if little Chris was here, you'd be riding that fucking wall.
Just knocking
Just
all
kicking
them
balloons,
balloons,
popping
yeah.
as many as I can.
Holding your feet down, like kicking them up in the air.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Going
was
wide
that
and
was
hitting
great.
the jump. I
Yeah.
remember Mr. Sumner, right? He was lining people up for the Boonie bike race.
You talk about this time or last time?
No, when the main that I snuck
I
into,
saw like 19.
and he looks at me. He looks down at his list, looks at me again, and he's like, "You don't belong out here." And I don't fucking know. And I guess he kind of did the same. I think he looked at you, and you're like, "Yeah." And everybody gets out racing, and I'm just there to hit the jump.
Did you have to jump with your feet over the handlebars?
Yeah. Yeah, I did surfing too on the sidecar, on the side hack
That's right.
last
Yeah,
year, the
with-
goofball class.
with Loyal
Loyal.
Yeah, that was after I put it into the wall.
into the wall. Yeah.
Oh my God, I couldn't slow down.
Hasn't
I
been the same.
couldn't turn, so we just went right into the wall, and
Yeah, you wouldn't want to lift. You don't want to slow down.
I was trying to turn. I don't know what Loyal was doing.
Hanging on for dear life.
Well,
I
you're the
think.
mini bike guy. Bold statement. The original
I'll have to make a comeback
mini
and
bike guy.
Yeah, exactly.
screw it up for
Yeah.
everybody.
Can
I want
you-
to see you dressed like King Diamond in the fucking Boonie bike
Oh
class.
yeah, that's what my mini bike is named after.
Yeah.
Abigail.
Because I don't know the connection between that and
King Diamond had what the album was called Abigail,
Mm.
and it was like the first death metal themed album. So like throughout the whole album, it tells a story
About what?
of I don't know,
A mini bike that.
Abigail.
could.
This
Let's
the
burn
death
down
of
the
this
church.
in 1777. So that was my race number. I go to sign in, and Chris looks at me like, "What the fuck is wrong?
Yeah.
Why do you have what's that? Why is that your number?" And through all our rummage sale finds, I was able to find a West Dallas license plate, bicycle license plate, 1777.
Nice.
That adorns the bike now.
You found it like that? 1777 was
This
the
was
original?
before, so like I just had license plates stacked up. So I was digging through my license plates, and I was like, "Holy shit! I have this
From West
license
Dallas.
plate." It all comes full circle, Jeremy.
Yeah. So go
Wait,
ahead.
can I interject for a second? We have not touched on chickens.
I don't know what that means.
Or your lovely wife.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
We can talk about chickens.
Turkeys.
Chris keeps chickens. Turkeys also.
In West Dallas?
no,
Where
I
have
live
I
in New
been?
Berlin now, sir.
Oh, okay.
Turkeys?
I have a turkey. Her name's Gertrude.
How does she get along with the chickens? How does that work?
She's one of the flock.
Yeah.
She sleeps in the tree every night, and then she comes down it in the morning.
Is there a nest or she just
No, she just
Like-
they sleep in the trees. Away
Really?
from danger. Yeah.
wild?
The turkeys lay eggs daily?
They lay probably about 2 clutches a year, up about 13 eggs, and they sit on them for 27 days till they hatch.
So how come you still only have one turkey?
Because
'cause you only have one
she's less than a
turkey.
year old and she hasn't made it to mating season yet.
Got it.
Are there other turkeys to mate with in the yard? Like, will that happen?
I don't know.
Will
We'll
there be
see.
a bunch of dudes hanging out by the fence
Yeah.
in summer going,
What's up,
Sup,
Gertrude?
Gertrude?
Let me get some of that.
smoking cigarettes, acting cool? Put sunglasses on, yeah.
Puffing up, yeah.
What are you going to do with your Gertrude?
She's just part of the flock. She's one of the homies. Just hangs out.
Can you eat the eggs?
I don't know. We'll see. But they don't lay like chickens, so I'm concerned that if she does decide to lay, she's going to lay it somewhere where I know so she doesn't disappear for a month. So they like to lay somewhere secluded. And
Could
her
she
mom,
could she get out of the fence? Because she sleeps
Oh,
in the
yeah.
tree, so she could fly out.
oh yeah,
right?
she's outside of the fence. I see her wandering around the neighbor's yard. In
Oh,
the morning
really?
this morning, she flew onto the garage roof and is looking in my kitchen window
Feed
like, hey,
us.
give me some chicken scratch. Give me some cracked corn. So I go out, fine, I'll get you some cracked corn, Gertrude.
So that's just Gertrude the turkey. You have chickens.
Yeah,
Yeah, in all your chopper shots, you're holding chickens.
big girl, Betty Page, I think the black one is now. Terrible one after a bicycle company. She had a little sassy attitude when she was young.
Okay.
And Henrietta. Henrietta is Gertrude's sister. She's a day older than Henrietta.
But she's a turkey?
She's a chicken.
Okay.
So my Betty Page hatched Gertrude, and after she hatched her from an egg,
So somewhere along the line you're like, holy fucking shit.
I acquired
How did a turkey get in here?
I acquired an egg for Betty Page, who wanted to be a mom. She was sitting. She told me, and she sat on the turkey egg till it hatched.
Yeah, in little Chris style, he put a fucking turkey egg under a chicken. So
I'm pushing boundaries. I'm making things work. It's hence why I don't have children yet. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how this shit works.
So does the mama chicken like look after Gertrude as like
Not
adoringly?
anymore. So like after like 5 weeks, when the birds
Gertrude
can't
was
fit
like-
under her, she's really mean to them. Says
Mean
Grow
things?
mean things. Grow
Packs
up.
it.
Figure this shit out yourself.
Got it.
Kind of excludes them from the
Tough love.
yeah, and then they work their way back into the flock.
Got it. Thank you for that. For the backyard Henrys.
So it's kind of like
Follow.
any other thing. You got to prove yourself to be a part
Just
of the
like
crew.
any
All
other
right,
thing.
All right.
Chicken and turkey eggs.
Yeah, nature.
So let's finish that then. Your homestead, and you have a chopper shop, or it's a machine shop somehow.
Got a
in the
1.5
grounds?
car garage, and then a big 2-car garage full of storage.
You
for
making
car
shit there?
parts.
Is it?
Yeah.
Your
got a
convertible.
mill, lathe. Got my convertibles in there.
Hey, you're doing your spirals. What else are you working on?
Working on throttle spirals. What else am I working on?
You got quick turn throttle spirals for internal
Yeah, they're
handlebar
OEM.
Harleys.
They're OEM throttle spirals. So instead of turning 180 degrees on a stock OEM internal throttle, I made it to spin 135. Not quite quarter turn. It's right in between quarter and half. So ideally, they'd be for racing or just your street bike. Sometimes when you're riding your street bike, your vintage Harley street bike, down the freeway or something, you got to re-grip the throttle and to get a little bit more
got all
open.
that pull.
Yeah. So I came up with that idea, and I've been making those and selling those.
You're selling?
Yeah.
You got some history or friendship built with Mike Lang, who's been on the podcast before.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? A little bit of a mentorship going on there.
Yeah, I think I was telling Danger Dan the other day too, like they brought that up, and Mike's been such a great mentor friend to me. Early on when I had the Sportster, I went to him and asked him like, hey, how do I make this thing start easier? At that point, we didn't know what was inside of it, that it was a stroker and had big cams in it. And,
yeah, the story of that bike's cool too. Not to change the direction, but
yeah, we should get back to that.
Yeah.
And he helped me out a little bit with it, and then I was trying to sell it, didn't sell, blew it up. He helped me rebuild it the first time.
Blew it up how?
We ran it out of oil. I hooked the oil lines up backwards at the valley. So we rode the Leons, and on the way back from Leons, it just kept dying on me. The pistons kept seizing in the cylinders. So Dustin helped me push it back to 12th and Pierce from 27th and Oklahoma.
What is that there?
Almost Lincoln, about Lincoln. So we pushed it down 27th Street to Greenfield. No, that took a while, but it was a nice summer night, and that's one of those motorcycle memories that's why we ride motorcycles, is to fuck up and rely on your friends to help out and
learn a lesson
and get that. Yeah. So from there, I'd see Mike at Cheaters Car Club shows, but
Mike's hard to approach.
He's very hard. It took a while. That man has blossomed into a whole another person in the last 10 years. I think he told me that at one point he just was very to himself with all of his information. Like, he's the guy that builds these engines. Like, nobody else needs to know how to do this. This is my gig. And I just kept bothering him, calling him up, and sometimes he wouldn't answer for a couple of weeks because he was so busy with what he's doing. And now today, he almost answers every time I call him, or if I don't call him, he calls me. Hey, I was thinking about calling you. And I go over there about once a week, and he helps me with my motors. I help him with anything that he needs done. I've welded some stuff for him, and we've built
painted stuff for him.
I painted a tractor drag bike for him. I painted a 39 WLDR for him that he just sold. A beautiful, immaculate bike.
Did that go to Megum?
No, it didn't. It was a private sale. But he's challenged me. He's given me opportunities, and he's helped me grow. I think he was the same kind of way. Cruising around the neighborhood on his mini bike, getting in trouble. Like,
yeah,
dude,
kindred spirits.
Yeah, we don't. It's not that we're wild because we're wild. We're wild because we need something to do. Keep us busy. Give us some adventure in life. We're supposed to be in the woods, killing deer with axe, I don't know, whatever.
Bows and arrows.
Yeah. Cutting possum's feet off and stuff.
Let's finish your homestead, though. We've got it. I sense your shop. I feel like I understand it with the cars in there and the mini bikes and the chickens. You are also married.
Yeah.
Too there. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about this lady? Or man, I don't know.
My beautiful husband, Sarah.
Yes.
He's pretty.
Dude.
Are you gay, Scott? My son asked me if I was gay this weekend.
Really?
That was awesome.
Which son?
Max. He had
koozie with all of us on it.
Yeah, I was tongue kissing Carlos on a koozie.
What?
Yeah. Yes. And he was there when she wait, maybe not. I don't know. I had it on my beer or something. He grabbed it and he looked at me and said, "Are you gay?" I said, "No, son, but $20 is $20. He took it. "I'm telling Mom."
No, my beautiful wife, Sarah, we've been married for almost 10 years now. We got married in 2013 in Missouri. Met at a mutual friends, her roommates, their housewarming party. And I was there with...
She's from Missouri?
Yeah, she's from Missouri. She moved up here because her sister was up here, and she wanted to get out of her small town.
Rad family, too.
Super
Yeah,
rad
we
family,
stopped.
beautiful area.
We stopped there on the
Yeah.
way up from Barber's when
It's beyond beautiful. It's,
Oh,
it's
it's
so
so
fucking
gorgeous.
cool.
it's like Paradise Valley and Tall Tale.
What's Grandpa's name?
Norval.
Norval, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
He's still kicking around. And,
yeah, he's 86. I think he just turned, and he's got 70 head of cattle. I think that he's pushing. He raises and sells calves, and still rides his horse and splits wood every day.
So she comes from a solid stock.
Yeah, yeah. So just I'd say about same family class of family. You know, not.
Well, you know what they say about people from Missouri? They love company.
It's a show me state too, right?
Jeremy Prock, everyone.
Okay, now that we
Jeremy
got
Prock.
the homestead situated, can you answer me this? So, you know, you are the mini bike guy that's established, and I am not the mini bike guy, and I'm really cautious to take any credit for what we're doing with this mini bike thing that's happening. I think it could have happened anyway. We just kind of added gasoline to this flame.
Oh, I
My
love
point is,
putting gasoline in
Tell me,
places.
tell me about the Boonie Bike Beat Off, which I think would have, you know, is a predecessor to what we were doing. Can you tell me a little bit about that and how that fits in the history of things?
The Godfather, Jesse
Jesse
Klenzig,
Cleanser.
he would have a mini bike race at his house, and every year he would build a different course, and it was like a mini motocross track.
Motocross, yeah.
Um,
Huge jumps, berms, tabletops.
Yeah, so
Was it a race like where there was a start and a finish?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was run similar to.
I haven't heard about it for a while. Has he done it?
He hasn't done it for a while.
All right. Well, we need to bring it back.
He just hasn't done it for a while.
Sure.
So it was pretty organic. Like if you knew about it, you knew about it. It wasn't nationally. It was like just people from around a couple of these counties. Man, I can't. Who's the guy that built a course for him? He raced hooligan for us. He rode the mini bike off the bar that one year.
Oh,
Jeremy?
Wytech.
Wytech.
Jeremy Wytech. Yeah, Jeremy Wytech. That's his job. He builds
right.
dirt
Yeah, like
mountain bike
mountain
trails,
bike trails,
around the country, and he would build a new track for Jesse's mini bike race every year.
Mhm.
Is
And
Jesse a car? He's a car guy?
yeah,
Is that
Jesse
what
was in the Cheaters, I believe.
Okay.
And so he's just always been around
Nice.
hot rods and mini bikes.
Great
He's always
crew.
had his original mini bike too.
Yeah.
And he used to race the Flat Out Friday, but yeah, that was an amazing outdoor in his backyard dirt bike race that
Mhm.
JJ usually always won it, but Jeremy would give him a run for his money too. So,
Yeah, Jeremy's fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesse's fast.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jesse's
Even on that
fast.
original, so like I don't give a shit if you come on a stout or whatever, one of these 30-horse mini bikes if they're getting that big anyways. Like I think those guys have proven that it's more about how you ride that bike and you hold your line and do it.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter how fast or special your mini bike is. That's why I don't know. I remember the Simpsons episode where Lisa's hanging out with these older cool kids, and Bart comes around and he's doing all the skateboard tricks, and they just look at him and they say, "Dude, you're trying too hard." Like, yeah, these dudes are trying too hard. They're ruining mini biking.
They're doing too much, the kids would say.
Yeah, so
Yeah, they're doing too much.
that's part of my drive to be like, well, you guys are. I'm not interested in racing you. I'm just gonna go fuck around over here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tell me, my last question I have for you. You mentioned that you're the vice president of this car club, the West Dallas Car Club.
That's correct.
You gonna put a bid in for president?
No, I do not want to.
Do you want to be vice president?
I got a lot of things in my life right now a lot of loose ends and other things I want to do. So I guess that's an easy way to say no.
Sure.
It's been
Yeah,
great.
but
I've learned a
yeah.
lot managing people, and I think I've grown a lot the last couple of years doing it. And I look up to Warren and you guys with the whole management aspect of this event, businesses, and how to keep your cool and work with people and get the job done.
Yeah, you put females in charge.
That's what we're missing. That's a great idea. Okay, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, my question was, how do you keep it young? How do you keep young people interested in the West Isles Car Club?
That is the $1 million question that we have there.
Really? Has it been hard to recruit more people to come in? Or?
Yeah. Oh, well, wouldn't you know, I was just requested to go to the local high school and request let the kids
tell them one of these stories.
I'll teach you kids how to pee backwards. My friend Danny, when he was in high school, did that. He went to he heard about that shit. He's like, "Oh, that's funny. I'm gonna go." He did that. He went to high school and did that shit.
Peed backwards?
Yeah, and some kid walked in on him and him and his friend, and they're like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" He's like, "Don't fucking worry about it." I guess you gotta. It reassures a level of confidence in doing it. But anyways, how do you keep the demographic young?
Mm-hmm.
And get kids interested in this stuff? Because we were all noticing. I feel like this is a theme because I think we all noticed that this weekend there was a lot more young people than we've ever had before.
Mm-hmm.
From 2 and 3 and 4 year old little kids to teenagers to young adults just a lot more young people than I've ever seen before, which is awesome. So we're doing something right, I think. You know,
with what, both events or
I don't know. Maybe
Both
it's
events.
somehow it's attracting people because we need kids coming up and we need that energy and we need the new whatever the new style is that they're going to bring to the table. That has to start somewhere.
I think you need to just shake your head and laugh.
Yeah, of
Because
course.
it, like I think you were saying, I don't know if it was here before the podcast, you might not agree with what they're doing and it's not what you would do, but you maybe children, you have to let them be themselves,
Exactly.
find themselves.
Yeah.
You set a good example for them and
Let it rip. Yeah.
If you want to be a manager, but you're going to yell at everybody, you're setting an example for your employees to manage like that.
Mm-hmm.
You want to manage in a way that is attractive to people.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes a whole flock. It takes the three of you doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have to be consistent about that. And I believe that you guys are doing that. And that's you're being welcoming and catering to what these younger generation needs by inviting them. It says a lot when you invite, especially a young person, into what you're doing. Maybe they'll show interest, maybe they won't. But if you notice what they're doing, you're giving them an opportunity to grow, and you give them enthusiasm to do that themselves.
Sure, we support their ideas to see it to the end, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, with cars, I can see it. With motorcycles, it's a little easier because they're a little bit cheaper, if you will. Just with cars, I feel, I don't know what you call the new cars now. With the Honda Civics, maybe would be like
Tuners.
would be the old Chevy. Would be the old Chevy. Would be the new Honda 4. Are they welcome in your club, or you keep it old school? A metric or American
muscle car.
Yeah, I keep telling those guys that they are welcome. The older guys. We have a couple younger guys that have been joining, but it's hard, man. With me living my own life, it's hard to.
You gotta stay consistent with them old coots, man.
Well,
it's easy to slide back.
I got to provide an environment for the young guys that they want to be in.
Sure, as well as the old people.
And it's hard.
Bridge the gap.
It's hard to do that all myself. I can't reach out to these kids necessarily. They're not even kids. One's older than me and the other one's just younger than me. But I have to. What will entice them to come up there? There's not much.
What do you mean there's not much? There's mentorship.
There's a lot of not necessarily.
But those cars, but that car culture specifically, it's not as much really chopping stuff up as it is bolt-on stuff, right? They're not altering frames so much.
With the drift cars now,
yeah.
you modify the suspension in ways that you have to add steering radius to it for drifting. You put it in a roll cage, you stiffen it up. So you
Well, there
start
is a
off.
lot of fabrication.
Yes, there is. There's still a lot of fabrication, but you're also starting off putting an intake. They did that back in the 50s. You put a different intake on your car. You put different wheels on it. It's the same stuff, just different
progression.
It's a different
Gotcha.
canvas,
All right.
medium. So there's opportunity for it, but in a way that you manage a business to have a legacy, it's the same thing. It's a business. You got to be a good manager to attract and keep employees.
Hence, our podcast has nothing to do with motorcycles. It's about people.
Hi.
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Is there anything just of the pockets of learning of knowing you? Again, I know you the least. Can you tell me a little bit more about your motorcycle building? Can you tell me about motorcycles you've built? Or I know you have the Sportster that you bought. What have you built something?
The 45.
Yeah, in 2017, I retired. I don't know if that was my second or third time. Yeah, very very amazing wife that has stuck with me.
Transpired,
And,
yeah.
Man, she's amazing. She lets me, just helps me through with what I need to do.
Little Chris, you've worked your way out of jobs on purpose. I think trying to find your way and where you're headed, and she's stuck by you.
I'm pretty diligent at going to work every day and putting up with a lot of bullshit at jobs, and I'm also good at getting the job done and doing what I want at work too. But it's really hard for me to quit, whether it's a project, a job, or anything. Like I want to maintain it and get through it. So that's where I get stuck. So that's what Warren's talking about. Like, I almost set myself up to fail in some ways, like at jobs. And it's been amazing. Every time I do quit, I don't think I've really ever been fired, but I usually just quit.
I don't think it's quit. It's not a setting yourself up to fail. Like, you want things to go better and stronger, get better and be more efficient. And like, you're running up against these walls that you shouldn't give a shit about, right? You're trying to push the envelope to make things better around you. Yeah. And you just keep banging your head against the wall and finding like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Go do something else.
I get
frustrated.
Yeah, I get frustrated at things that I shouldn't worry about controlling, but they are in my way.
You feel that maybe your talents aren't being recognized,
or I'm just not able to stretch my arms and legs enough and do things.
Teamwork makes the dream work. I don't think you're being supported the way that you wanted to be supported, or a team wasn't there, or like, I don't know. That's what I was picking up on, is that you're just frustrated because you think things can be much better, more efficient, and the company can make more money, or we can make more money, or we can get more shit done, or
do a better job. And I think a lot of times with the bikes that I build, projects that I work on, I try to make things too nice, and then I don't finish them very fast.
Yeah, you're like the opposite end of the spectrum of me, right? Like I don't know how you operate, and you probably you want to beat your head against the wall and see how I operate, but then if you pull back and look at both sides of things, it makes sense.
For sure.
It's more about people and the way that you're about it.
But I built a bike, and I quit my job and built a bike in 2017 after Warren recommended me to Michael Lichtner's for the Motorcycles is Art Youngblood show in Sturgis. And, Mike said, you come with the recommendation of Warren, I'm going out on a limb here. Let's see what you can do. So I had bought a flathead project the previous year, and it was time to get going on that. I don't normally set deadlines for myself, but I had a deadline on that bike, and I built it in 9 months. The frame's a 1932 to 34 RL frame. The engine's 1945 WLA engine. I made the front fork lowers, made the gas tank, narrowed and shortened a repop fender, did all the paint work on it. Kendall did the gold leaf on it, but all internal controls. All the hardware was cadmium plated and polished chrome. the finishes on that bike make that bike stand out.
Where's this
and
bike now? It sounds wonderful.
It's in my cold garage.
It is beautiful.
It's
great.
very beautiful.
It's a classic.
But I couldn't have done it without the help and mentorship from Mike Lang.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, it's very Mike Lang-esque. Like you guys coming together is a good thing.
it was
I
interesting because a lot of Mike's builds are of the stock type. He doesn't modify or change things too much. So there was things that I was doing that pulled from my experience with my era of choppers and aesthetics of things that, he was scratching his head like, I wouldn't do it that way. That looks weird. But I did my thing, and it worked out pretty
Turned
good.
out perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
I love that bike.
So I modeled it kind of after a BMX bike, and I wanted it to be small, agile, and fun to ride.
Well, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Winner.
Exactly.
Well, thanks, little Chris. We're in the point of the interview where we're starting to conclude.
Well, thank you, Jeremy Proct.
Did we cover everything with this guy, Warren?
I mean,
Scott?
I feel like we did pretty good. What do you think? You got more shit you want to talk about? Now's your chance.
Man, I'm going to blow my chance.
That's good, man.
Wait, hold on a second.
That's what I'm looking for.
I got another question, too.
You have a question for us?
Yeah, you.
Me?
Yeah,
Where's
you.
this guy?
What do you want?
You like to tell me how you tell everyone in the world about how we were roommates.
Yeah, we're roommates.
Now you have the platform of millions, and you're not going to talk about it?
So you used to get so bummed when I would tell people that we were roommates.
Didn't
Yeah,
I?
you
Did not.
did.
No, I did not.
You would do the same exact thing you did with less of a smile.
I would roll my eyes because most of the things that you say are eye rolling.
And these are people that I'd meet for the first time in front of you, and I'd be like, "Hey, Scott and I were roommates," and you'd be like,
Yeah, with no predicate at all.
"Yeah."
Not like, "Hi, my name's Chris."
Or that one time I was like, Scott, I could be your illegitimate child if you had me when you were 21. You didn't like that either.
Well, Chris
Chris is known. Yeah, Chris is known for.
used to live upstairs. Right?
How do you describe little Chris? Everybody's like, how do you describe little Chris? I'm like, you don't.
I'm great at making a bad first impression, and I guess
Yeah, because you just holler, "Dad," or "Mom."
I learned that from the Mercs.
You have a good bit, though. I think
Yeah,
that
exactly.
I like to throw that out there, too. Say something slightly offensive just to cut through the bullshit and learn someone's true self almost immediately.
Oh,
by
yeah.
throwing them a red herring.
When first day of COVID at Mama Tried, I was going around asking everybody, "Hey, where do you live? What's your address?" You wouldn't believe how many people would actually tell me their address. It was pretty cool. So, where were you throughout all this rocker box stuff? You were down the street.
Yeah.
You were selling beers.
Where was I through all that rocker box stuff? I want to give you an honest answer to that. Now, I was around when Fuel was starting with the motorcycles.
Yeah.
But
Wait.
at that time, I was into cars. And I tried to I had this fantasy that I was going to start this Fuel stock car racing team. And all of the motorcycle people would come support me and see it. And so during that rocker box time, it was always a Saturday, and I never missed Hales Corner Speedway.
Mm-hmm.
The 6 years I raced there, I never did anything else on a Saturday night between Memorial Day and Labor Day. But I remember at the last couple rocker boxes, I had Loyal had brought his I had built his 50 flat track bike, the bike that Max has now.
Yeah.
I didn't build it, just put slicks on it or whatever.
Yeah.
But that bike was in the show.
That's cool.
But I was there for that, and I didn't know motorcycle culture. To me, you don't have to answer this, Scott, but I was working at the bar in the corner, the River Horse. I was bartending there when you first started this, and the owner of that bar.
When Cody and I would sneak in there.
The owner of that bar was like, "We're going to start like an anti-Harley fest," was like the language that was being used. I don't know if that was true or not, but something was happening at that first inception of Rockerbox that made it seem, the philosophy was, hey, not all motorcyclists are into Harleys. Some people are into metric things, so let's have a fest celebrating this during this. It must have been the 95th anniversary. Or the
that's
90th.
right. Yeah, something like that.
And I didn't give a shit either side of the fence. I had a crotch rocket, much like this, And I didn't know or care that anybody else had anything else. So I really wasn't in a community of motorcycles. And I miss not being there and take advantage of that. I did live in that neighborhood at that time. I just had my own things going on.
Yeah.
And it took me a while. I remember Scott telling me, you and I played hockey, Scott. And you said, I'm gonna quit this rocker box thing. It's just so much of a hassle. I'm gonna do a show. And I remember saying, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. A motorcycle show where you bring in, like, you can't ride in?
It's funny.
That's
I told him
so dumb.
I told him the same thing.
So, but it wasn't until then that where Scott sorted it out for me, sorted out a show where I could take it in. Rocker box was too overwhelming. That's cool, that's cool, that's cool. And it didn't know how to sort it or categorize it in my brain until the first Mama Tried.
You know, I wonder how successful Mama Tried would have been if you didn't do rocker box. Because I remember Jeff Wright being up here for that. I remember Luke Bruheim bringing a cool bike that was really inspirational to Cody. I saw some cool Harleys down at Rocker Box.
Yeah.
Completely,
the last couple of Rocker
Well, the
Boxes.
vibe changed. I mean, because you have to understand at that time. So the last year it was 2003 when we started it. At that time, that was when Harley was still flying so high. And if we always were in the cafe racers. And so you ride cafe metric bikes around town and people were just like, you pull up at a stoplight next to a bunch of Harley people and they would just sneer and taunt, it was just like, and they just bought this brand new bike, right? And we've got, 10, 15 years of riding under it. And we were just like, after a while, you just get pissed.
Yeah.
So you're like, all right, let's do something that's like not that. Because I had no idea that there was a different part of the scene, which I learned from Warren.
That night at, what was that? The
State
Fair.
State
After
Fair.
State Fair, you got so excited from peeing backwards, you're trying to ride your Sportster up
I rode up that hill over in shop.
a pile of dirt.
Flipped that thing over.
I wonder if those text messages still around,
Oh
man.
my god,
Fucking wild.
that was a wild
This
time.
is 2003?
No, this is later. This is after. So after we got to be friends. So so in the beginning, yes, it was an anti-Harley thing, and then I started to meet Harley people, and I was like, wow, there's a bunch of Harley people that are actually really cool and really interesting, and I like them.
Yeah.
And I became interested in their motorcycles, and I got interested in old choppers. So I would just pester Warren with chopper questions and Warren's friends. And that's what the end days of like the last couple of years of Rocker Box was what made me be like,
Maybe we
Harleys are
could
fucking cool.
help end this on a parallel.
Whoa.
In the early 2000s, there was a lot of beef between skateboarders and BMXers. You can't come
beef.
here, can't do there, right?
Snowboarders and skiers.
Yeah? Is that still there?
Oh, I don't know.
Well,
I'm not 13.
now they come together and they build do-it-yourself
Yeah.
skate parks, and they're working together to do all this
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
It's all gone. The hate is gone.
Yeah.
Everybody's come together,
Yeah.
and I kind of see that with the metric and the Harley stuff. And I think you guys putting the show together really helps unite and bring people together. It's cool
Sure.
to see all these girls on the Royal Enfields. It comes to a point where you start realizing that the miles matter, the adventures on the bikes matter
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
than what you're
Hell
riding.
yeah, hell yeah. I mean, we're not in any way responsible for it. We were just happened to be doing motorcycle events at that time
For sure.
when the culture shifted,
Mm-hmm.
and luckily enough to be around while that was happening, and it was just a really cool time. And now look at it. It's like chopper guys building race bikes, race guys building choppers, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's pretty. It's cool. It's
People
cool
having a
what's
good time.
happening. Yeah, exactly. It's all about the good time. Different genders, different races. It's like doesn't matter what you ride. It's not even about the bikes anymore.
Dude, I love
It's about the people.
I
That's
love
what's
the
so
energy
great
that
about
Lala brings. I love
it. Yeah,
I love
exactly.
that we went to Throttle Twisters that day. Like it didn't
It's one of
matter.
my
You were
favorite
on
memories.
you're on two wheels.
Yeah.
You're part of the
Fucking let's
family.
party. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I got goosebumps when you said miles. It's the miles that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we turn that into is that copyrighted?
It's the miles that matter, brother.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Chris.
Chris.
I like
Thanks
I
for
like
having me,
I like
James.
your philosophies.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, pal.